Okay, 7-3, translations. So we've talked about dilations. That was the first transformation we talked about. Now we're going to talk about translations. So translation, just remember this part. Translation means slide. So you're just sliding a shape across the coordinate plane. So what I mean by slide is if, so you have a figure, so say this little green, this neon green square down here is my pre-image, and say this first one, like in the example it says the rule for translation is x, y, x plus or minus your value, y plus or minus your value. So example translation 2 units up and 3 units right. So that would mean that this shape is going to go 2 units up, whatever that may look like, 2 units up and 3 units to the right. Okay, so I'm not turning it, it's just sliding across the coordinate plane. So it's going up and it's going to the right. Okay, so not turning it, not flipping it, not doing anything else, just sliding it. Okay. So when a figure is translated, each point is moved in the same distance and in the same direction. So the translated figure is congruent, the size doesn't change, to the original figure and has the same orientation. So the congruency is the same, or it preserves congruence and it preserves its orientation. So the rule, like I talked about, x and y. So if you were given this, the translation is 2 units to the right and 3 units up, you would write x plus 2 and y plus 3. And the reason we do that is because if you have your coordinate plane and if you are moving to the right, we've got our y-axis and our x-axis. If you're moving to the right, what kind of numbers are these right here? They're positive, right? So if we go to the right, that means it's positive numbers or addition. Same thing if we go up on our y-axis. So on our y-axis, we go up. What are those numbers? Those are also positive numbers. Or plus 3. Okay, so then if we went to the left, those numbers are all negatives. Or if we went down on the y-axis, those numbers are all negatives. Okay, so that's where the plus 2 plus 3 comes in, because we went to the right, positive numbers, and we went up, positive numbers. If we had gone to the left and down, then those would be negative numbers, or those would be minus or negative, same thing. So x minus 2, y minus 3. Remember, x values are side to side, right positive, left negative, and y values are up and down. So up is positive, down is negative. So the example, draw the image of the quadrilateral ABCD after translation 2 units right and 3 units up. 2 units right and 3 units up. So if you're given a graph with the image on it, you can just use that to create your transformation. Okay, so we'll do that first. Since we have a graph, we have our image, we'll do that. So 2 units to the right. So I'm going to write that up here just so I can remember. 2 units to the right and 3 units up. So what I'm going to do on this graph, I'm going to go each point. So I'm going to take each point and I'm going to move it in those directions. So I'm going to start with A, start with point A, and I'm going to go 2 units to the right. So 1, 2, and up 3. 1, 2, 3. So A prime. Okay, same thing with B. I'm going to move B 2 units to the right. So I'm going to start here, go 1, 2. So 2 units to the right, 3 units up. So 2 here, 1, 2, 3. So B prime. Then C, I'm going to move it 2 spaces to the right. So 1, 2, and 3 up. 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be C prime. Same thing with D. Starting at that point, 2 to the right, and 1, 2, 3 up. And so that's going to be D prime. Okay, so it's the same image, just slid up and to the right. So this is my pre-image, and this is my image. So the old coordinates were A, -4, -2, B, -2, 0, and C, 1, -3, D, -2, -4. And so you can write the new coordinates. So if they didn't give you the graph, what you can do is take these old coordinates, the pre-image coordinates, and use the algebraic representation. Okay, so if we were going to go 2 units to the right and 3 units up, remember to the right, those are positive numbers on the coordinate plane, and if we go up, those are positive numbers. Okay, so that means my algebraic representation should look like x and y, because that's your starting, and what's happening to your x value. If we go to the right 2 places, so +2 or +2. So x plus 2 and y, since we're going up, that's positive, and we go up 3 units, so y plus 3. Okay, so take a second, make sure that makes sense to you. And then what we're going to do, so if you don't have your graph, take your old coordinates, and you want to use this kind of as like a formula almost. Okay, and so they gave me all these coordinates, x and y. I got my x and y, x, y, x, y. So if my x value is adding 2 each time, I'm moving it to the right, or adding 2, that's what I'm going to do for all of my x values here. So I've got, if I'm going to write a prime, b prime, c prime, and d prime. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 to all of my x values. Okay, so -4 plus 2 is going to be -2. -2 plus 2 is going to be 0. 1 plus 2 is going to be 3. And -2 plus 2 is going to be 0. Okay, so adding 2 to all of your x values, and then all of your y values, you're going to add 3. Because that's what if we're going up 3, we're adding 3. So -2 plus 3 is going to be +1. 0 plus 3 is 3. -3 plus 3 is 0. -4 plus 3 is -1. Okay, so if you're just given coordinates and how it's going to move, or if you're given the algebraic representation, then this is what you want to do. All you have to do is add or subtract your coordinates. In this case, they were both positive, so that's why I added them. Okay, so down at the bottom, draw the image and or write the new coordinates of the figure after the indicated translation. So since they give us the picture on 1 and 2, I'm just going to draw them. I'm not going to write the coordinates. So 5 units to the right. So my x value is going to go, would be +5, but we're not going to write the coordinates. And then 4 units down. So if I was going to write the coordinates, I would be subtracting 4 since we're going down. Okay, so I'm going to move each one. So starting with R, I'm going to go to the right 5 places. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be R prime. Same thing with S. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down 1, 2, 3, 4. So just like you would do coordinates, you've got to go X, Y, then make your point. And then same thing with T. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So T prime. And your image should look the same as your pre-image. So this is pre-image, and this is image. Okay, so if they don't look the same, check and see what happened. And just as a refresher, if I was going to write the algebraic representation of this, the 5 units right, 4 units down, I would write XY with the arrow, because that's telling me something's happening to it. And my X value If I'm going to the right, that means it's positive, because those are my positive numbers, and it said 5 units. So x plus 5, and down. If I go down on the y-axis, then that is minus, or those are the negatives, so that would be minus 4. Okay, so that would be your algebraic representation of it. Okay, on number 2, we're going 3 units. 3 units to the left, and that's our, if we're going right or left, that's our x value. 2 units up, and that is our y value. Okay, so I'm going to start with G, and I'm going to move according to what they gave me. So 3 units left, 1, 2, 3, and 2 units up, 1, 2. New point, and I'm going to write G prime. Then I'm going to use the F. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, and that's going to be F prime. Last one, H. So I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3 to the left, and 1, 2 up. So H prime. If we connect them all, it should look the same. And if we were to pick out the algebraic representation, if we wanted to write that, we would write xy. And since we're going to the left, that's my x value, but when we go to the left, remember those are our negative numbers. So I'm going to put x minus whatever it was, 3. And then up. So on my y-axis, if I'm going up, those are my positive numbers. So y plus whatever number they gave me, which was 2. Okay, so that would be the algebraic representation. Okay, these down here at the bottom, we're going to just write the new coordinates. So since we don't have a graph, I'm just gonna rewrite the new points after the transformation, the translation, I guess technically. So triangle TRI with vertices T, R, and I, translated 2 units to the left, so that's my x value, and 3 units down, so that's my y value. Okay, so the algebraic, or the rule we're going to use, is x, what's happening to the x. If we're moving to the left, remember those are our negative numbers, so minus the number they gave us, 2 in this case, and the y value, if it's going down on the y-axis, those are my negatives. So I'm going to minus 3. Okay, so we're going to use that to write our new coordinates for T prime, R prime, and I prime. So we'll take the original x values and subtract 2 from them. So 2 minus 2 is 0, 0 minus 2 is negative 2, negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. And then for the y values, same thing. We'll do 1 minus 3, 3 minus 3, and 1 minus 3. So that would be 1 minus 3 would be negative 2, 3 minus 3 would be 0, and 1 minus 3 would be negative. Then number 4, same thing, it's translated 3 units to the left. So since we're going to the left, that's our x value. Since we're going to the left, those are our negative numbers, so it would be x minus 3. So our x and y is translated x minus 3, and then 1 unit down. So that's our y value. And if we're going down, that's our negative y. So y minus 3. So we'll be subtracting 3 from all the x values. So 3 minus 3 would be 0. 3 minus 3 would be 0. 6 minus 3 would be 3. 6 minus 3 would be 3. So that's all my x values. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my y values. So 2 minus 3 is negative 1. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. And 2 minus 3, negative 1.